could start with the road opening. You could start with 44 and things like that. You can go ahead and take the lead, and you can just put you on the path. Or if you want, I can open it up.
All the traffic, okay? Are we good to go?
Think so, everybody? Y'all ready?
No thumbs up? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. We were just briefed from the team that's out there on the railroad system and preparing to move into the next phase of this operation. As we speak, we're sending out monitors to give us some air quality monitor readings along the Highway 44 with the hope that that comes back good enough for us to open Highway 44. Now that's going to be open once we get the all clear. We're going to open that highway, but it's not for people to return to their residence on 44. It's strictly for,
Through traffic.
through traffic only, emergency vehicles. We're going to discourage anybody, just don't come sightseeing. That's what we don't need, more traffic than necessary. But it'll be available for the school buses, mail systems, and anybody traveling along Highway 44. Highway 642, it's going to be a while. There's still a lot of work that has to be done on this highway. There's some damage at the crossing that's got to be dealt with. We don't have a timeline on that particular highway. But as we moving forward, as they're deconning, there's been some deconning going on in the immediate residence right near the site. And they're going to continue working with us and keeping us posted on that activity. But they're going to start the process starting from the furthest out working in. As we're working in, they're going to come in and give us quality readings, air quality readings, and they're going to also come in and do, pH tests on the residents, the personal property, so that at some point we intend on notifying the public if you're on a certain street, which might be the first street furthest out, we have an all clear for the residents to come in on that street. We're going to do it street by street as they test resident by resident. So every single resident is going to be tested, air quality and pH tests on their personal property, door handles, perimeters of the property, and whatever needs to be tested. If they come to some residents where we start getting little readings, we're going to communicate that to the public. Next street, we have some deconning to do, and the people are in place to come and do that. So we're working closely with them. They understand we want to try to get people back as soon as we can, but all measures are being taken to make sure we allow the public to come back safely. Mr. President?
Yeah. Also, too, I'd like to add that the threat of any more chemical leaking, there's no more risk involved in any of that. There's no more vapor release risk whatsoever. Everything's been contained. Everything's being neutralized right now. And that's why we're able to begin the process of reopening Highway 44 and doing the testing that the sheriff just mentioned about on the farthest outreach from the affected areas, so we can start allowing residents to enter back into their homes. It's street by street. So it's not going to be just a release everyone to come in. People will have to stay tuned to our Facebook pages, the parishes, the sheriffs as well, and all of y'all local news agencies. Thank y'all again for being out here and reporting this incident and helping us pass this information along to our residents, because it's the best way for us to reach them. So that's the plan moving forward. It seems to be in the very near future, hopefully in the next hour or so, we're going to be able to reopen Highway 44 for through traffic only. And then we're going to start testing the farthest outreach areas of the evacuation zone, and we're going to announce street by street when residents can return back, and hopefully that's going to be in the next couple of hours.
To help the public understand what could happen, that could disrupt our plan to some degree, which would probably affect the people closest to the rail system. There's a lot of things going on there. So they're moving equipment, they're moving the rail cars out of the way, they're securing that, deconning that, making sure that the product that's left in the one remaining car is neutralized. But as they start doing earthwork and digging up ground and moving things around, they could stir up a pocket of product that was still settling maybe in a place that they wasn't sure of, or just the nature of stirring it up could release some vapors, and it could affect the closest proximity to that area. So taking all measures to make sure that we don't expose anyone.
Sheriff Martin, are you all saying that some residents will be back in their homes by this afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And then, do you have a timetable for when all residents will be back?
No, as I just stated in that last comment, there's some things that could affect the residents that are closest to the the damaged area in the derailment. So, we're not going to know that until that product is, off the ground, scraped up, and hauled off.
Sheriff, is
How
the
many
cause of the
residents are
derailment still under
outside of their
investigation?
home right now?
The cause, I'm sorry, the cause is under investigation. There's several stages to that process. They're first trying to determine whether or not it was the rail cars itself that had something that go wrong and caused the derailment, or it was the rail system itself. So there's two different types of investigations going on at that time, and they're not in any position to give us any reports on that. Yes, ma'am.
Residents are still out of their homes right now. Do you have
Everyone that we reported earlier, no one has returned home in any of the evacuated areas to come home and stay.
And just to ask, what happens if a person is exposed to toxic air, this toxic air? What happens?
Well, I guess they would have to get transported to one of our medical facilities so they can receive treatment. And then that determination will be made by some medical professionals. That's something that we can't do here on site.
Do you know where the train was coming from and where it was going?
Not exactly, no.
Do you know who owns the train?
Yeah, I think we have that information. I don't want to say who it is because I'm not positive. They obviously the train itself, but also the product itself. They tracked it back to who filled that car, how many gallons were in that car, who owned that product. All of that's been covered, but I don't have those details.
Okay. Do you know if that's been, have you all spoken about that in earlier press
No, we
conferences?
have not released any information to that degree.
You all are not
That's
ready.
strictly the first responders trying to make sure they had a full understanding of what was in that car, the volume, and how much may have already made contact with the ground.
You said the train was on its way to New Orleans, right?
We're not exactly sure its final destination. It was just headed in that
It was
direction.
going that way.
Right.
Mr. Parish President, I
Yeah.
know you all had said that you all will be reimbursing residents who had to go to maybe a motel or something. Do you know how much this might cost the parish, and do you all have some sort of emergency fund to dig into?
We do have some available resources for the immediate response to an action like this, but hopefully the railroad will be reimbursing the parish as well. Right, so we hadn't even begun to even think about just the money aspect of it. Our main concern was our residents' safety and whatever we had to do to make them safe for the night, last night, that's what we did.
Do you anticipate, I know you guys did get another night so people could actually stay just in case. Do you anticipate getting another night for them, for the ones that are at the hotel?
We're not thinking that's going to be necessary at this time. Just tonight would be probably the furthest extent of it, except for maybe the residents closely affected to the site. The residents right adjacent to each side of the railroad, they may or may not need additional assistance for more than just tonight. But for the majority of the residents affected, they should be in their homes tonight.
So, for an example, several residents in very close proximity have already been tested and determined they need to be deconned. So they already started the cleaning process. But they're not going to go do anything more than the exterior until they're looking at the owner, get permission to help them. Let's go to the next step. We want to test you inside, whatever we need to do to make sure that everything's safe.
And we was told as long as the residents didn't have any open windows, that the interior of the home should be safe.
Yeah.
Just from the immediate assessment. But in the event some resident had a window open or a door may have been left open in the evacuation process, that's the residents that's going to be of most concern.
And when you say decon, you mean like neutralize
Yes.
everything and clean
Yes,
everything?
tested with pH strips and making sure
Yeah.
everything, the entryways and everything is cleaned.
And that's happening on a home-by-home basis?
Yes, it
Yes.
will.
As we talk about the operator, too, is it possible that the operator could be fined, the operator of the train? Could they face any type of fine or punishment?
That's going to be left up to the investigation, and I don't think they're anywhere close to determining whether or not anything had gone wrong by the operator himself. It's too early for us to comment on what the investigation is going to reveal.
Are you all the lead on this?
No.
Okay. Who is?
Well, there's several different leads. Obviously, under state statute, state police has a lot of authority over a hazmat scenario. You need to make comment on this, Trooper?
So as it relates to the incident, our hazardous material response team is on scene. As it relates to the investigation, it's being conducted by Canadian National, and it's still an active, ongoing investigation as we speak.
Some residents reached out about concerns about the water because the Mississippi was closed for a little bit of time. Any concerns with water?
Mississippi was closed for traffic, not really over water concerns. Now, the only concerns we have, we talked about the water, and I'll let the parish president make comment about that, but we go ahead.
Right, that's right. As far as we know, aware of, we don't have any residents that's dependent on well water. Everyone's under a pressurized system that comes from our water treatment facilities, and there should be no immediate concerns over drinking water or having any type of potable water for our residents.
But if someone has a well,
Right.
and they're concerned about that, that will be tested.
I know.
Oh, can you detail some of the agencies on board? How many personnel are really dealing with this right now?
I don't have a good number.
You have any?
So it is a team effort. It's multiple agencies that's a part of this cleanup, as we're calling it. So as far as the number of personnel, we don't have that data for you.
There's a lot of people here, though.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I know part of that Facebook post as well mentioned if someone needed to come back for their pet, and I know today as you guys talked about going through that cleaning process and getting people's homes reopened, but if there is someone that is still concerned about their pet, just any details they need.
We have been doing that all morning. Several people have showed up, had a valid reason for needing to go into their resident. We helped them. If it wasn't in a zone that it was unsafe. And once again, as you get closer to the derailment and the leak, that's where the real concern came in. The outer perimeter with the wind direction and the way things were coming together, we were able to assist some people today, and we will continue doing that.
A lot of residents are watching this, probably from their hotels right now. Anything that you'd like to tell them just about, pressing through right now?
Oh, well, I just think that progress is being made. It's really moving at a good pace. Unless something really disrupts the process, we indicated some things that may happen, but even if those things happen, I don't see it to be a major setback. It may be a half an hour, 45 minutes to decon something and get the readings we need. But I really believe the progress is being made, and we're going to start seeing a gradual flow of people coming back. There will be some people who are going to get disappointing news that you're too close. There's too much concern about the pH readings and the levels on your personal property, and we got to do a little cleanup for you before we think it's good for you to go back in.
3 carts are still on the railroad, right?
Pardon
There
me?
was 3 left. Is there 3 still on the railroad?
I think they have moved several more. I don't know
I
if
think
it's
they're
down
down
to
just to
one
one.
or 2 at most. Yeah.
Right. Any other questions?
We're good.
Thank
All
y'all.
right. Thank you all.